Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. Bulls attempting bounce, follow through, stumbling a little bit. We may be setting up these daily lower highs. Let's check out some clues. All right, so we had SPY break the high of Friday with zero follow through. One clue being QQQ did not break its high of Friday. The S&P 500 was stronger because some of our lead bull sectors, most notably, was the healthcare sector, and energy sector was also a lead bull, which matters a lot less in the S&P 500 than the healthcare sector, but both are a lot more present in the S&P 500 holdings than the NASDAQ. So it was clear QQQ was weaker than SPY. As we know, as I've been saying, if we want to see bulls with confidence, QQQ divided by SPY, which shows us relative strength, wants to be leading on the bounce. It led Thursday, it led Friday, didn't lead today. That is what bears want to see. So, SPY, hourly uptrend is our guide. We're watching for a daily lower high, and we're testing daily EMA 12 resistance. It's going to be in play potentially tomorrow. If we break the low of today, 397.60, our daily lower high is set, and we're looking back down at the low of last week as a must-hold support level, otherwise the daily downtrend continues. QQQ, daily inside bar, failed to break resistance, notable weakness. Amazon was a bit of a wait, Apple was a wait to start the day, and this inside bar in the direction it breaks is going to be very meaningful. If it breaks bull, the bounce continues and we have not topped out yet. If it breaks bear, it is a potential daily bear flag, and the bears keep their complete confidence. It's a 382 bounce retracement size at this point, which, as we know, is a potential bear flag. Now, there is a possible setup here where if we were going to see bulls take back over for bounce follow through, this is the NASDAQ futures chart 12-hour time frame, and it would be holding the low and then confirming the 12-hour trend change with the inverse head and shoulders. That's pretty much what the bulls have to pull off at this point if this bounce is not going to be a daily bear flag. So burden on bulls. And if QQQ breaks the low of today tomorrow, 297.13, that 12-hour higher low is still in play, but will certainly be starting the day, at least with some bearish sentiment. Volume will be key. If we're going to drop straight down to a lower low, we'll need some solid bear volume. And in my opinion, we will need weakness in a handful of sectors, if not all of our major sectors, and not just one or two. So, little bit of a confluence there. Essentially, the way that I would play that is I would be bearish, but I would just be keeping in the back of my mind, it's possible we set a 12-hour higher low and an inverse head and shoulders. SMH, daily inside bar. So if it breaks bear, we scout the daily higher low attempt, anything above 215.23. And our daily lower high will be set if it breaks bear. If it breaks bull, bounce is not topped out yet, and still watching 247.19 as a key resistance level. We can see it similarly, pretty much doing the same thing as QQQ right now. Tesla, big time lead bear today. And if we look at Tesla divided by QQQ or SPY or whatever metric, you can see a big drop today. And it was clear from the get-go, Tesla had a bearish correlation. Why was it clear? Because we broke the low of Friday way before other names had low of Friday even close to coming into play. So the daily lower high is set on Tesla, 787. And it's a potential daily bear flag. If QQQ breaks its inside bar bearish tomorrow, we're going to be looking right back down at that low of last week at 680. So not positioned well at all for bulls under any further weakness, and positioned very well for bears if QQQ breaks the inside bar bearish. Hourly lower high set into the end of the day, 741. So we would have to see bulls hold 680 and break 787 if we were going to see a shift on this chart. If not, bears keep complete control. Sweetie Pants just ran into the door. Sorry, bud. So XLV was our lead bull sector today. And we can see solid follow through. This daily candle is what every individual sector bull wished that their sector looked like today. And again, energy did it as well, but certainly not the case for SPY or QQQ or XLF. So key resistance is 133.25. If we reject from that level, there's a potential inverse head and shoulders, but again, bears are confident as long as daily lower highs keep forming. And a bear is going to stay confident until that changes. XLF already started the daily consolidation. It's a possible bear flag. If we drop down and break 32.41, the bear flag confirms with further daily downtrend. If the bulls can turn around from here and hold that level and break 33.81, it'll be a short-term shift that certainly gets our attention. But the fact that we broke the low of Friday definitely makes it stand out. Weaker, already setting that daily lower high. IWM, high of yesterday, double top, or high of Friday. So tried to see bounce follow through, unable to do so. If the low of today breaks tomorrow, our daily lower high is set. And we look back down at the low of last week. It's possible that some of these growth names, IWM included, again, that big volume bullish reversal candle, it's possible that we set a higher low compared to that low. Again, volume is going to be very telling for me. It's possible we set the daily lower high, hold the low, and then get some bounce follow through. But if we see a couple key clues, all major sectors at the low of the day at the same time, if that happens this week, big win for bears. Because that can't happen if you're going to see bounce follow through. So I'm watching very closely for that as well. Biotech sector saw some follow through. It was one of the stronger sectors for the start of the day. Daily EMA 12 resistance rejection, that changed everything. We had a bullish correlation. We rejected from the daily EMA 12, and then bears took over. And it's the kind of day today where the morning, for my trading personally, it was a bit of an unclear morning, and shorter term time frames are often choppy when you have an inside bar forming. But we had a megaphone pattern, and I was keeping an eye on this. So I went short on the morning, and I exited partial. Actually, where did I go short? I forget. It was the 1 minute. Every time you see a 1 minute V-shaped bounce and new high of the day with no trend change, for me in this market environment, that means go short. So I went short when we saw the new high of the day, pull back, exit partial, and then I actually went long. So I was playing both directions at the same time after recognizing this megaphone. And as soon as I recognize that megaphone, I start to give more wiggle room on my stops because I know megaphones like to break support with no follow through. So I had a short that I sold half on and put my stop over the high. And I moved my stop back knowing this uptrending resistance line was here. And then I went long down here. And in the end, neither trade was a big winner because they were offsetting each other a good bit, and it ended up green because no matter what, I'm going to stop out in one direction and the other one's going to do well. But I didn't really like the back and forth trading there. It was just too much to keep track of. But my point is, I then had a nice win on the day from this XBI top fish. So again, you don't got to trade the open. There's plenty of patterns that develop late morning or midday, and this one was just top fishing, inability to break resistance, and a big pullback from there. And just looking at the size of this drop, it might not look like much, but again, the leveraged ETFs, this was a 2.5% drop here. That's a 7% plus move on LABD. So that was my best trade of the day. Just a clear top fishing play, low risk, high reward. And from that point forward, the correlation shifted from a bull correlation to a bear correlation. The rejection from daily EMA 12 and the double top at resistance, and then bears took over from there. So if we break the low of today, tomorrow, daily lower high is set, and we're looking back down at 61.78 daily support. An aggressive bull is going to look for an entry, playing off the low of last week. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there if we top out on this bounce and have a red day tomorrow in the markets, setting lower highs in many places. The VIX is still notably weaker. You look at SPY, daily candle, upper wick, Didn't even close at the midway point. Closed closer to the low of the day than the high of the day. QQQ closing near the low of the day, and the VIX is closing at the low of the day. So I am anticipating a daily high or low compared to 24.94, but this is probably the most significant bearish correlation I've seen between the VIX and the broader market in as long as I can remember, where it's just consistently surprising how we are closing. I mean, look at how we closed Thursday and Friday. We closed at the low of the day. Okay, that makes sense. We had a solid bounce, and bulls were proving it. If you show me the VIX here, I would say, oh, bounce follow through. All right, we closed up near the highs. Bulls are continuing their bounce, when clearly that's not the case. So 24.94 key level. If we hold it, we'll have a tightening equilibrium to be paying attention to towards the end of this week, or maybe even the start of next week. Keeping an eye on that level. But that would also mean if we are going to set a higher low compared to that level, that this market has more bounce to come. Because if we're going to top out here, no, I take that back. I'm thinking of it backwards. If we top out here and the broader market pulls back, no, I'm now double confusing myself. So we could see the top out, a bounce on the daily here, bulls hold the low of last week in SPY, QQQ, IWM, everybody else, and then that leads to a lower high. Essentially, if we are going to drop straight to a lower low, that would mean that this bounce sees notable follow through in the broader market. So I am anticipating a higher low, at least initially. On to commodities. So the dollar has daily consolidation underway. We know anything above 103.37 is a daily higher low, but a decent little pullback there. 4-hour chart, little downtrend. So still very strong on the daily. Checking in on the US 10-year, it's a potential short-term little bear flag. I'm hesitant to call it a bear flag just because of how strong it has been for months. But if you're looking at only this price action, it's a potential bear flag. If we were to drop down and break 2815, that would be the first confirmed lower high and lower low for this entire bull move. That would be a notable shift for us into weekly consolidation. I should say further weekly consolidation. So watching that very closely. TLT is still weak. Low of the day close 3 days in a row. So commodities, gold, trying to get a bounce going, broke 4-hour lower highs, but still have to confirm the 4-hour trend change if we're going to see bounce follow through. Silver led the way to the downside, and now it's leading the way on the bounce. We've been bouncing for multiple days. We have a 4-hour uptrend. So a notable difference there. We're still scouting the daily lower high on silver, just like we're scouting on SPY and QQQ and all these individual stocks. But the bounce is underway. The miners bounce is underway. It's still very weak. It's a potential daily bear flag here as well, still at this point. Oil bulls following through. V-shaped bounce to higher highs. Very impressive. I attempted that bearish short on energy sector, and it went well to start. Got a good entry, held support, and as soon as you break resistance after holding support, I'm out that trade. So I stopped out on Friday, and we did get some follow through. There is an uptrending resistance line to be paying attention to, but that was just my first attempt to short a lead bull sector in a while, and I don't have interest in making another attempt anytime soon. So all-time high hit today in the energy sector. Nat gas, we're watching for a daily lower high. It's much more likely because of the size of the pullback and the size of the bounce at this point. An aggressive bear is scouting an hourly lower high on this bounce and then hoping we roll over into daily consolidation. We don't have any indication that daily consolidation is shaping up. But again, it's knowing the most likely scenario, big picture, which in my opinion is a lower high on natural gas. I thought a lower high was coming on oil as well, which is obviously not the case, but natural gas has so much more distance to cover than oil did. But it's knowing the bigger picture most likely scenario and then looking for short-term clues that it is potentially shaping up. So this hourly lower high may be the initial short-term clue that it's potentially shaping up. I wouldn't be surprised to tighten up on the hourly, but if we tighten up and then break bear, daily consolidation may be shaping up. So that's where we stand. Pretty much, bulls have to continue to prove daily bounce follow through. QQQ daily inside bar is very key for me. There is a possibility it breaks bear, and the NASDAQ futures chart sets a 12-hour high or low, so the bears don't see follow through. And what I'm watching for very closely, if we do break bear, how do our sectors respond? Is everything dropping? What's the bear volume look like? And that is where we stand. I will have, well, I don't know the direction of the lean I'm going to have. I am going to be scouting a daily lower high to be the result of this bounce. It's just a question of, has it been set yet or not? So I'm still bearish as long as the daily chart is in a downtrend. That is for sure. But I am aware of a scenario of how these bulls can get this bounce going with some follow through. And an aggressive bull is hoping for a red day tomorrow to be able to bottom fish the lows of last week. You know, if I'm looking at the biotech sector and I'm saying, ah, man, well, I didn't want to enter on the fear last week, but here we go, already bouncing 14%. I don't want it to run away without me. I want to top out here and then give me another chance. Give me a higher low entry attempt off of that level to try and change the daily trend to see some weekly bounce follow through. That's only for the most aggressive bulls, but that is a possible scenario to be keeping an eye on. All right, that's where we stand. Hope you had a good day. Don't forget to do good things, and we will check in tomorrow and see if daily lower highs have been set yet or not. Bees are settling in on their first week, so we'll do a flower tour and look around the yard at all the things they have available. I love watching them shoot out of here, and then they just go over and overlook the valley. Pretty good runway. This dogwood tree has a bunch of flowers on it.